Welcome to What the Hub podcast, brought to you by Jersey Cape Life Empowerment Hub. In this episode, we answer questions like, do standardized tests determine your intelligence? What are the benefits of getting your GED? And do you toast or freeze your Pop-Tarts? Disclaimer, our AI camera decided to play jokes on us at minute 16. But if you have any topics or you want to be on the show, message us on Instagram at WhatTheHubPod. As always, we are here to empower you. This is What the Hub podcast. I'm Emma from Jersey Cape Life Empowerment Hub. This is
Kelly Dean from Jersey Cape Life Empowerment Hub with the Odyssey program.
I'm Gabriel Still. I'm enrolled into the Odyssey program, getting my GED.
So, GED, let's talk about that. Previous episodes, we just had high schoolers come on the episode and talk about their experiences in high school, but now we're going to flip it and talk about our experiences with alternate schooling. So, GED, general education degree, is that what it stands for nowadays?
I believe so. And then there's also the other acronym where it's just high school equivalency.
HSE. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they keep bouncing between HSE and GED. So basically that means when you either drop out of high school or you never were enrolled in high school, you get to go through this program to get your GED, which really is a high school diploma at the end of the day. It has your name on it, and it says you graduated, and you can, start applying to colleges and other works because you have a high school degree. So that's the background of us. I personally dropped out of high school. I was 16, freshly 17 maybe, and I dropped out because I was being bullied a lot, and, I was such in a tiny school where there wasn't really much to offer. We didn't have a football team, we didn't really have a lot of sports, and it was such a tiny school in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to waste my senior year in gym class and in an English class, and that was basically it. And I was like, well, I also don't want to be bullied for another year. So I dropped out and immediately just took my GED test, the math, the science, the reading, the writing. And after that, I just enrolled myself into online college at 17. So I just jump-started early. So that was my experience, like in a nutshell. But we could dive into it. How about your experience with, you said you were homeschooled?
I was homeschooled for, 10 years, since third grade.
Homeschooled for 10 years.
Since third grade, yep.
Have you ever thought, gosh, I really wish I was in public school?
Multiple times.
Why?
Well, pretty much because with homeschool, you don't really interact with like other teenagers your age or like any other people your age. So as a kid, I really didn't know how to like communicate and talk with people as much until I like started working and stuff. And after I started working, being around people more my age and, try to get my communication back up. But I think that if I was in public school more often than just being homeschooled almost my entire life, probably would have been a lot easier for me.
Oh, yeah.
Be able to hang out with friends and stuff like that, because I really didn't have many growing up as a kid because I was homeschooled and, not really in public school with everybody else, all your friends, communication, doing stuff. But yeah.
So socially, you wish you were in public school,
Yeah.
but like academically, do you think you still learned just like with everybody else how to read and write and such? Do you think you were?
It depends on the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your strongest subject?
Language.
Oh, that's ironic because you just said
Yeah.
that language was, you didn't really speak to people.
I didn't really speak to people, but language was my strongest. I say language and history. Maybe more history, I don't know. Yeah, I guess more history, actually.
Yeah. But that's why, history is your go-to, not science.
Yeah.
Everyone has their thing that they're good at or they're bad at. I'm really bad at math. I failed it 6 times, 3 times in high school and 3 times in college. So my strongest is writing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how about you, Kelly? What was your high school experience? Did you do a traditional route unlike us?
So I did do a traditional route. I went to a 4-year high school. It was definitely a little challenging because prior to going to high school, I had moved with my family. So I moved from Philadelphia to Bucks County area, went to public school, and that was also a transition for me because when I went, my years leading up to 8th grade were spent in a Catholic school. So it was very different transitioning out of a Catholic school system into a public school system, and then not having had any like prior way to transition to that other than high school. So it was definitely challenging. There was some educational gaps from, things that I just either didn't learn or just we weren't adequately prepared to be able to handle high school. So I was in some classes that were, I guess, considered remedial. I needed a little bit more help. And I definitely struggled through a lot of my years in high school. Yeah.
So do you wish that you had a different option maybe? Or did you even know you had a different option when you were in high school? Like, hey, I'm really struggling. I wish I could do something else like a GED program. Or did you have options then?
So if there were options, I didn't know that they existed. It was pretty much just told to me from a very young age, you're going to go all the way through your 8th grade education, and then you're going to go to high school, and then you're going to go to college. So had I known that there were other potential, different paths to explore or different ways to do things, I definitely would have liked to have had that ability to explore that.
And now, like, fast forward to your adulthood and your career being, a youth counselor for the people that dropped out of high school or just never went to high school. Do you wish that programs were more well known and well liked and well received? Because there's this stigma going around that, oh, if you drop out of high school, you're just a lowlife or you're a loser or something like that. Like, is it still like that? Are kids being treated wrongly, do you see, that drop out?
I don't really know necessarily if kids are being treated, wrongly, but I do feel like the way things kind of move with society and what society expects of people that don't do things, inside of the, box that they're, that they give us. Mm-hmm. So I definitely feel too that there is stigma that still exists, and that I do wish, just in general, that, a path to exploring, someone getting their GED was just made more available to people that they know, because there's a ton of reasons why students might explore the route of getting their GED. I know you had mentioned, that you struggled with being bullied. That's the reality for a lot of students that do come into our doors, into the Odyssey program, is that they are seeking almost like this haven, nice, relaxing space where they can, still get through their academic journey just a little bit differently, but in a space that's not going to make them feel as vulnerable, where they know that, everybody's here for similar reasons and everybody has similar goals. And so right away, that space that we provide for them to be able to do that, is comforting.
Yeah, because high school isn't always a safe space. So it's nice that we have organizations like us to create a safe space for you to get your degree. Because at the end of the day, that's all what we all want. As teachers in high school, counselors, alternative paths, people, we all just want you guys to graduate and move on to the next chapter of your life. So that being said, like, you work at a corporation that's very well known.
Yes.
Now, getting that job, did you have to go through any explanation, or did you receive any bias because you were doing a different type of education, like homeschooled, and now you're in this GED program? Did you receive any, like, hey, how come you're not in high school or anything like that?
Every now and then, sometimes.
By other adults or other kids?
Other adults. Most of the time, kids really don't care much if you're in public school or private school or homeschool. Pretty much all the same for them. But when it comes to like adults and stuff, like, you tell them that you dropped out of school and they think, oh, you're one of those kids, that are on the streets and stuff like that.
Right.
And I mean, sometimes they like ask like, oh, is it like a reason? And sometimes they just don't. They just assume that, oh, because you dropped out of high school is because you don't really care about your education and you want to, run the streets and live on the streets, stuff like that. But
Right,
It
but
depends.
that's not
I
true.
guess it depends on the person. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going through and getting, you're only one more test
One
left.
more test left. Yeah.
One more test left. Are you nervous?
I mean, I took it twice, didn't pass both times.
It's the math test,
Yeah, the
right?
math test. Yeah.
That's what gets everyone, mostly. Yeah.
That's what got my brother. He got past everything, and then got stuck on the math one, then stopped for a couple of years, and now he's trying to get it back.
It's rough because a test is, we have to take tests to pass in life, right? But I feel like a test shouldn't judge your intelligence,
Yeah.
because you could be smart in many different ways. Like you said, history and writing, language, that's your bread and butter. But math, you shouldn't get, that shouldn't be a barrier. Yeah.
I feel like it should be easier.
Right. I mean, that's hard too because especially most people that take the GED have been out of high school for a bit or just never went or, so I could see how it could be a little daunting.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But what's the first thing you're going to do when you pass the math test?
The next one,
Well, what do you get excited about?
basketball. Definitely basketball.
Do you want to make that a career?
I thought about it, but at the same time, not really.
Why?
Because most of the time, the chances of making it into professional basketball are really low. And
Right.
most of the time, people that make it into the NBA nowadays or professional have like sponsors or like know people that are like up there, like other like scouts, coaches, even like team managers, even like just a water boy on a basketball team. Mm-hmm. Since I don't have any of those connections, and most of the time, most people don't make it to the NBA that are in New Jersey. Maybe like 2 people have made it into the NBA. So just not trying to. I'm expecting the unexpected.
Right. I understand that. But then at the same time, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
I guess you're right, but I got other things that I'm trying to do. I've been
What are you trying to do?
after I get my GED in September. I want to take a barbershop course to be a barber.
Okay.
'Cause I've been doing a little bit of that at home because getting haircuts mad expensive nowadays. Really
Absolutely.
expensive. Like they offer like $45 for a cut. I'm like,
$45 for
for a haircut,
just a haircut.
just a haircut.
That's it.
Yep,
Dang.
just a haircut. Yep.
But did you do your own eyebrows?
Yes.
Yeah. See, you got a future because those eyebrows are on point.
Yeah. People ask me if I wax my eyebrows. I'm like, no, I don't. This is the way they are.
Hey, no pain, no
No
gain.
pain, no gain.
That's
Some
right.
people are just perfect.
So, have you thought about going to a barbershop to get mentored? A lot of times they have
Well,
apprentices where you could go to.
There is one next to PetSmart, and they told me if I get my degree, I could come over and talk to the boss when I get my degree.
When you
Is
get
that
your
better?
degree. There you go.
When I get my degree.
When you get your degree. When you pass your math portion. And because, like, at the end of the day, that is a huge barrier if you don't have a high school diploma.
High school diploma, you can't really do much of anything because you need a high school diploma to get better jobs, to get into college, to get better recommendations for stuff. And if you don't have that, then you don't get any of it.
And that's the beauty about a GED because it's basically the same thing as a high school diploma. You can, if you have a GED, you can apply for jobs. You can go into college. They treat it as a high school diploma. So really, we are trying to change the stigma around dropping out and getting a GED because it's on paper it's the same thing as the high school diploma. Just less transcripts, but you still do have those testing transcripts from when you take your math, your reading, your writing, your science. You ever thought about the military?
Yes, actually, when we had the little like party get together thing, a guy came from the National Guard and was talking about it. And me and my brothers always have been talking about, once I get old enough, all going to the Army together. Think it'll be fun. And that's what I told my grandparents. I had the same excuse my grandpa did. He said, "Why do you want to go to the Army?" I said, "So people can stop telling me what to do." That's the same exact thing he said.
Well, that's funny because people tell you what
exactly.
to do.
I just said the same exact thing he did. But yeah, when I finish and get my GED, I'm planning on doing that sometime after Christmas because I was gonna do it straight into September, but then I thought maybe I want like a little time like after, you know, I get my GED, I don't have to do like no school, nothing like that. I have more time to hang out with my friends, work as much as possible, and then like after Christmas, then sign up to
be a barber in the military.
That's easy, because all you got to do is no guard, no nothing, just straight over the head, messing people up.
Messing people up?
Yes.
Well, let's hope you don't mess them up.
Well, there's nothing much to mess up. You're giving a buzz cut.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
I just, buzzers. I've never shaved my head, but
Don't do it.
don't. I have no plans to shave my head unless it's for a great cause.
I would never shave my head again. I did it once. Bad idea.
Really? How long does it take for your hair to grow back after you shave your head?
It depends on the person, because with white people, their hair grows a lot faster than black people's hair does.
Oh, I did not know
So,
that.
A white person cut their hair 3 months later, it could be like down to here. Black people cut their hair 3 months later, it could be like that much hair left. So it takes a lot longer for our hair to grow and to see length because of how it's curled.
I see. Okay.
So it takes a long time.
Noted. What were we talking about again? GEDs. Kelly, bring us back in. What has been the most rewarding part about being in the GED program as a youth counselor? Like your firsthand knowledge.
I would definitely say just the conversations that I get to have with the students that maybe with their academic journey and just their life circumstances, they didn't have a lot of people in their life to, really express to them that they were supportive of them in every way. And when they come into this program, they, often, all the time, every chance I get, hear, just different expressions and ways that I say things that, Jersey Cape and its entity is very supportive of them, and their goals, and not just Jersey Cape, but me too, as the counselor, that I care. And I just think that having that, really awesome partnership between myself and the students, they know that, they always have somebody that's, in their corner, somebody that's going to show up to the graduation and be there and care, not just show up to, say that they went, but show up because they genuinely care and want to see what other doors and avenues that they can open and explore for themselves, later on in life.
Yeah, showing up matters, not just physically, but emotionally showing up. Because in a traditional setting of high school, you have a teacher and 100 students in a whole day. I just noticed my AI camera is, I think, only pointed at you right now. So this is going to be, you're going to be the star of the show. So we're just going to be voices in the background, and I have no idea how long it's been like that. Oh, and speaking of schools easily distracted, that's what we're talking about, a personal touch and showing up there for students. Because in a traditional setting, a teacher has 100 students a day they see. But with, programs like us, we can have that individualized talk with them and individualized education and care and actually, show up, like you said. So
Absolutely.
What's been some highlights for you being in a setting like this, rather than homeschooling, now that you're in this GED program? What are some highlights or takeaways or standout points?
I want to say the snacks, because, my parents never really bought too much snacks because of what my brother did, but that's a different story.
Okay, we'll save that for the next episode. Okay.
But, yeah, I guess the snacks is probably the best part.
Hey, you got to nourish the mind with food and education alongside of each other. That is a cool part about our program, because we do offer snacks and drinks and just like a chill environment, because some kids might not have that at home, those snacks or food in general. It's hard to study when you're hungry, So just even a simple Rice Krispie treat will do the trick. So here's a question now. This can divide the room. Do you put your Pop-Tarts in the toaster to warm them up or no?
Or sometimes what you do, you put them in the freezer.
Oh.
Well, that's interesting.
And then you eat them. Or I do this sometimes. I get Pop-Tarts, then I'll go to like Wahlburgers or something, maybe Dairy Queen, and get a, what's it called, a milkshake. And then what you do is you take the Pop-Tart and you put it on some wax paper, and then you pour the milkshake over it, and then put it right in the freezer. So when you take it out, you have a milkshake covered Pop-Tart.
You know, and you say you want to be a barber, but I'm convinced that you need to open up a sweets store. Honestly. Well, okay. Is there anything you want to add, Kelly, before we kind of close out? Well, thank you everyone for your insight and expertise on alternate route education. I appreciate your time. The past couple episodes, we went around the room and did a fun fact about ourselves. So we could do that this time. Who wants to start with their fun fact?
I'm going to be last because mine's about to be like the best. So she can go first.
Okay.
Start.
Sounds good.
I am a very big Taylor Swift fan.
We know that.
Kind of coin the Swiftie term. Sometimes I have Taylor Swift on in the van when we're driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You see me and Logan in the back. We're like, just sitting there like, well, this is going to end.
Yeah. Okay. My fun fact is that I went skydiving on my 18th birthday. You're doing the same thing,
When I was
skydiving?
18, my uncle's taking me skydiving.
I love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your fun fact?
My fun fact is I'm really good at learning new things.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
Like the other day, I was in Tennessee with visiting grandparents, and where there's one place where there's a couple of cheerleaders, and I like doing flips and stuff. I've done a couple, learned a couple, and they were doing this one. I'm like, oh, teach me how to do that. It's one where it's where they like do a cartwheel into a back handspring, into another one, into a backflip, and then into like a 360 backflip. So I said, teach me how to do that. So they showed me how to do it. I looked at it. I said, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it, and I did it perfect the first time. And then, like, how to do that? I said, well, it's like there's this one, I read a lot of comics, and there's this one superhero in Marvel. No, he's a villain, actually. And his name is, I think it's Taskmaster. And with his, ability, he can see something and then do it right after he sees something. That's kind of what I can do.
Yeah. Love
That's
that.
really cool.
That's a really good fun fact. And now I want to videotape you doing a backflip for our closing credits. Well, this has been fun. Thank you guys again. And hopefully you'll be back sometime. Yeah, that's true. Thank you for penciling us in. I appreciate it. Okay.